Stop right there. Before you scroll away, let me ask you something that will change how you see the world forever. Do you think being good keeps you safe? Do you believe that kindness protects you? That generosity builds loyalty? That honesty earns respect? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're about to discover the most dangerous lie society has ever told you. The biggest mistake people make is believing that being good means being safe. But here's the brutal truth. Goodness is like fire. It burns through everything you've built. Your relationships, your career, your dreams, everything. Niccolo Machiavelli. Yes, Niccolo Machiavelli figured this out. He watched good leaders fall. He saw kind rulers destroyed. He witnessed generous people betrayed by the very ones they helped. And he wrote it all down. Today, I'm going to share his hidden truth with you. The shocking cost of goodness that nobody talks about. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn why your goodness is actually making you weak. Why people don't respect your kindness, they exploit it. And most importantly, how to transform goodness from your greatest weakness into your most powerful weapon. But first, let me be clear about something. I'm not telling you to become evil. I'm not asking you to hurt people. What I'm showing you is how to be good strategically, not blindly. Because the reality is, in a world full of wolves, being a sheep gets you eaten alive. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose strategic goodness. From today, everything changes. You will no longer use goodness blindly. You will use it strategically. In this video, we'll uncover why goodness doesn't always protect you. In fact, it often destroys you. And we'll see exactly how to transform it into a source of real power. Let's start with the first shocking truth. Number 1, goodness as exposure. Think about the kindest person you know. Now pause for a moment and really see them clearly. Not as you wish they were treated, but as they actually are. Are they truly respected? Or are they the one everyone calls when they need something and disappears from when they don't? This is where the illusion begins to crack. The truth is, being good doesn't make you secure. It makes you visible. And visibility without boundaries is exposure. When you are consistently kind, predictability sets in. People learn your limits before you do. They know you won't fight back. They know you won't say no. They know that pushing you carries no consequences. And once that lesson is learned, it spreads quietly, person to person, situation to situation. You don't notice it at first. It looks harmless. You become the reliable one, the easy one, the good one. Until one day, you realize your role has been decided for you. The office doormat, the friend who always pays, the family member who keeps sacrificing even when it hurts. Not because you were weak, but because you never showed strength. Let me tell you about the person. He was the best team manager I ever met. He carried his team, covered for mistakes, took responsibility when things went wrong, put everyone else first. And when promotion time came, they passed him over. Not because he wasn't capable, but because capability without authority looks like service. And service, no matter how noble, is rarely respected. Here is the uncomfortable psychological truth. People don't respect goodness by default. They respect boundaries. When help is unlimited, it loses weight. When access is unrestricted, it loses value. When someone never shows teeth, the world assumes they don't have any. Your goodness becomes a signal. Not of morality, but of exploitability. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. This is the moment most people miss. You've been trying to survive as a sheep in a world full of wolves, and wondering why you keep getting wounded. This is the first awakening. Not that goodness is wrong, but that goodness without strength invites destruction. Drop this affirmation in the comments and mean it. I protect my energy. The second truth cuts deeper, because this is where most good people quietly lose control of their lives without ever realizing when it happened. Number 2, the generosity trap. Here's something that feels wrong the first time you hear it, almost offensive to your values. The more you give to people, the less they appreciate it. Not because they're evil, not because they're ungrateful monsters, but because of how the human mind adapts. At first, generosity feels powerful. People praise you. They speak highly of you. They tell others how amazing you are. That applause is intoxicating. It makes you feel seen, needed, valuable. And without noticing, you start giving not just out of kindness, but out of identity. This becomes who you are. But something subtle and dangerous begins to shift. When you help someone once, they feel grateful. When you help them twice, they feel thankful. When you help them 10 times, they feel entitled. What was once a gift slowly becomes an expectation. Your exceptional kindness becomes their baseline reality. And this is where the trap closes. The moment you stop, just once, they don't remember the 9 sacrifices. They remember the single refusal. Suddenly, you're not generous anymore. You're selfish. You're disappointing. You're the problem. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you felt guilty for finally saying no, even when you had every right to? This is the emotional climax most people never prepare for. The realization that your goodness didn't build loyalty, it built dependency. And dependency always turns into resentment when the supply is threatened. Think about parents who give their children everything. At first, the joy is real. Gratitude is genuine. But over time, gifts lose meaning. The new phone becomes normal. The sacrifice becomes invisible. And the first time the parent says no, they're labeled unfair, cruel, unloving. The same pattern plays out in friendships, workplaces, families. You always pick up the check. You always give rides. You always stay late. You always help. And slowly, people stop thanking you. They stop asking. They just assume. And when you finally need something in return, they vanish. This is the generosity trap. You give until giving defines you. And the moment you stop giving, you lose the role that made you valuable to others. That's the warning most people never hear. If your value comes only from what you provide, you will be discarded the moment you pause. Psychology explains this with brutal clarity. Humans experience hedonic adaptation. We adapt quickly to good treatment. What once felt special becomes normal. What once felt generous becomes expected. Your kindness doesn't register anymore because it's always there. But your absence? That's unforgettable. Your one act of saying no burns brighter in memory than 100 yeses. That's why people complain about the boundary, not the sacrifice. This happens everywhere. At work, staying late becomes invisible. Leaving on time once becomes betrayal. In relationships, constant compromise is expected. Standing firm once becomes difficult. Machiavelli once said, "Benefits ought to be conferred gradually, and in that way they will taste better." He understood something timeless and uncomfortable. Scarcity creates value. Abundance destroys it. If your goodness is everywhere, it means nothing anywhere. This is the second awakening. Not everyone deserves your generosity. And generosity without limits doesn't make you noble. It makes you predictable. Drop this affirmation in the comments and let it reshape how you give. I give strategically. Now we move into a colder, more dangerous layer of truth. This is where fear sharpens into awareness. Number 3, the mask of virtue. Here is what society never tells you out loud. People don't reward goodness. They reward the appearance of goodness. They don't judge what you truly are. They judge what you seem to be. And this single misunderstanding is why so many sincere, moral people lose power, while less virtuous ones rise effortlessly. Look closely at the world around you. The people with influence, authority, and respect. Do you really believe they achieved it by being genuinely nice to everyone? No. They learned when to smile and when to stay silent, when to show mercy and when to draw a hard line. They wear virtue like armor, not like an open wound. This isn't about being fake. It's about being intelligent. A surgeon causes pain to save a life. A judge delivers punishment to preserve order. A leader sometimes must look cruel to prevent greater destruction. Real goodness isn't always soft. Sometimes it's terrifying. The mistake most people make is showing their weakness openly while hiding their strength. They bleed in front of enemies and posture in front of friends. The wise do the opposite. They reveal warmth selectively and conceal their steel until it's needed. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." That line isn't poetic, it's diagnostic. Perception shapes reality. If people perceive you as weak, they treat you as weak. If they perceive you as strong, they adjust. Instantly. This is the moment of awakening. You begin to understand that goodness without control becomes a liability, and control without goodness becomes tyranny. Power lives in the balance. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my image. Now comes the mathematics of survival. Number 4, the economics of power. Every action has a cost. Every favor. Every yes you give when your body and mind are screaming no. Every hour you spend fixing someone else's problems instead of building your own future. Most good people never calculate this. They just give, and give, and give until they're empty. Then confusion sets in. Why am I exhausted? Why do I feel bitter? Why do I feel invisible? Because resources are finite, time is finite, energy is finite, and unlimited generosity guarantees eventual collapse. This isn't selfishness, it's arithmetic. Think about airplane safety instructions. Put your oxygen mask on first. Not because you matter more, but because if you collapse, you help no one. Life follows the same rule. When you exhaust yourself trying to save everyone else, you become another person who needs saving. That's when something humiliating happens. You shift from asset to burden. And the same people who benefited from your strength quietly distance themselves from your weakness. I learned this the hard way. I said yes to everything, every request, every interruption, every quick favor that turned into hours. I believed I was being good, but slowly, resentment crept in. My own work suffered. My dreams stalled. And the cruel irony? I became less capable of helping the people who truly mattered. That's when the truth landed. Saying yes to everyone means saying no to yourself. And when you abandon yourself long enough, you eventually abandon everyone else too. The most generous people in history weren't indiscriminate. They were disciplined. They said no to most things so they could say yes to what truly mattered. Machiavelli once said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And that command starts internally. You cannot lead others if you cannot control your time. You cannot protect anyone if you cannot protect your energy. Drop this affirmation in the comments and let it settle. I protect my resources. Now we arrive at the point where everything converges. This is no longer about fear alone. This is about destiny, about whether your goodness fades quietly or becomes something that reshapes the world around you. Number 5, the strategic use of virtue. Let's be absolutely clear. This is not a call to become heartless. Mercy, honesty, generosity, these are not weaknesses. But in the wrong hands, at the wrong time, used without intent, they become liabilities. Virtue is not meant to be spilled everywhere. It is meant to be aimed. A sword on a wall is harmless. A sword in the hands of someone who knows when to draw it can save a kingdom. Your goodness works the same way. When you help, it must be deliberate. When you forgive, it must be chosen. When you give, it must shape outcomes, not feed habits. Instead of helping everyone a little, help the right people deeply. Instead of being nice to everyone, be exceptionally fair and firm with those who matter. Instead of saying yes reflexively, say yes powerfully to what aligns with your values and your future. This changes everything. Scarcity restores value. Focus multiplies impact. Selectivity creates respect. History remembers people who were strategically good, not endlessly agreeable. Martin Luther King Jr. did not negotiate with injustice politely. Mother Teresa did not try to save the entire world. She focused relentlessly on the poorest of the poor. Their goodness had direction. Before every yes, ask yourself, does this align with who I'm becoming? Can I do this without draining myself? Will this be respected or merely consumed? If the answer is no, you don't apologize for declining. You decline calmly, clearly, and without guilt. And when you do say yes, you give fully. That's how virtue regains its weight. Number 6, the illusion of gratitude. This is the truth most people never accept. Gratitude fades. Not because people are evil, but because they are human. Repeated kindness stops feeling like a gift and starts feeling like an obligation. Thank you turns into expectation. Expectation turns into entitlement. Help someone once, they're grateful. Help them repeatedly, they adjust. Eventually they assume. And the moment you're unavailable, the narrative flips. You're no longer kind, you're unreliable. The past disappears. Only the present refusal remains. This pattern repeats everywhere. The one who always says yes becomes the one no one respects. The helper becomes the default solution. And when boundaries appear, they're treated as betrayal. Here's the awakening. The people who appreciate you most are often the ones you help least frequently. The ones who take you for granted are usually the ones you rescue the most. Understanding this doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." People remember what you do now, not what you sacrificed before. Your past goodness does not protect you. Your present boundaries do. Number 7, results over intentions. The world does not reward what you meant to do. It rewards what you actually changed. History doesn't remember kind intentions. It remembers impact. You can have the purest heart imaginable and still leave nothing behind. Ask yourself honestly, would you rather be liked and forgotten or respected and remembered? Nice people avoid conflict. Good people resolve it. Nice people preserve comfort. Good people create growth. Nice people maintain the status quo. Good people disrupt it for the better. Sometimes being truly good means looking harsh in the moment. A parent disciplines. A teacher challenges. A leader demands more. Surface kindness soothes temporarily. Real goodness reshapes futures. Machiavelli's most misunderstood line echoes here. The end justifies the means. Not as a license for evil, but as a warning. Intentions are meaningless if outcomes fail. People don't live in your heart. They live with the consequences of your actions. And finally, number 8, legacy and survival. History does not honor those who were merely good. It honors those who endured long enough to matter. You cannot help others if you are crushed. You cannot give if you have given everything away too early. You cannot speak truth if you are silenced by those who exploit your openness. Survival comes first, then strength, then impact. This is not selfishness. It is responsibility. Protecting yourself so you can protect others. Building power so your goodness has weight. The people who leave lasting change are not pushovers. They are not people pleasers. They are not afraid to say no, to disappoint, to stand alone when necessary. They understand that goodness without strength is fragile, and fragile things do not survive long enough to shape history. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." What he meant was this: respect outlives affection. Impact outlives popularity. Strength gives you the ability to choose goodness when it truly counts. Weakness gives you no choice at all. So remember this: goodness without strategy is a trap. It drains you, it exposes you, it destroys your potential. But goodness with strategy becomes something else entirely: a force, a shield, a weapon of influence and survival. You now stand at a crossroads. Will you continue being good in the old way, blind, boundaryless, and slowly broken? Or will you step into strategic goodness, intentional, powerful, and unignorable? If this message awakens something in you, don't ignore it. Hit the like button. Subscribe for more truths that challenge comfort. Share this with someone who's still being consumed by their own kindness. And leave a comment to lock this decision in your mind.
Because in a world full of wolves, don't be the sheep. Be the one who sees clearly. Be the one who survives. Be the one who chooses goodness with power behind it.